Here comes the guillotine. It's VGC, the video game podcast, with a special bonus episode featuring myself, Jordan Midler, Chris Scullion, and Christopher Macarthur-Boyd. This week, the downfall of Glasgow and a bit of Avowed. But first, Christopher Macarthur-Boyd, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks a lot. Buzzing to speak about Avowed.
Yeah, just Avowed. I'm sure we'll only talk about video games and nothing else
I
whatsoever.
will speak about Avowed at a serious length. How do you feel about Game Pass as a concept?
Game Pass as a concept, I think if I wasn't in the bourgeoisie where I get all my games for free,
Yeah.
I would love it. But currently, I don't feel I can have an authentic opinion about it. I feel
Sure.
this way about a lot of journalists that talk about Game Pass, where it's like, yeah, but you have Ultra Game Pass where everything is free, so why does it matter?
I'm all for it though. I think it's amazing because I can remember even back when I worked in CVG saying we need a Netflix for games. We need something where you just pay. And that's basically it.
We need a streaming service full of absolute passion, occasionally something good.
We need 90% indie games and a few first party games every now and then, but I love it. I think it's the best thing ever.
I think if you like, obviously, I do understand. Like, if you're a games journalist, you get everything for free anyway. So it's kind of like a race of superhumans discussing the problem of mortal men. Like, I mean, I guess they shouldn't have big aliens attack them all the time, but that's just part and parcel of having us here.
I felt the same way when people were talking about 70 quid PS5 games and the PS5 Pro. I was just like, well,
so we're glad you mortals are seeing advances in medicine, but we don't give a shit.
As immortals, we don't really see the benefits of penicillin, but alright.
As someone, so what are you playing your Game Pass games on? You got a Series X, a Series S?
Series X for me, yeah. I can't remember what. I think the thought process was, and obviously this will come up when we discuss Avowed, but I think Bethesda are just a beautiful. I really love everything that comes with them, the shite and the good. And what's the name of the main guy?
Todd Howard.
Just it works. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think he's absolutely fantastic. Freak.
He's a freaky wee guy. Would describe him. So do you think that the inherent shitness of Bethesda, if that was to go away, it wouldn't be Bethesda anymore?
100%. You need that. I need the jank.
The jank.
You need the jank is the juice.
So I've not played Avowed to clear this up. I will at some point, because I mean, not yet, because I fucking hate Xbox famously, but is it a Bethesda tribute act? Like, what are we talking here? Because The Outer Worlds, their previous one, was a Fallout tribute act, and I really liked that game. So
I liked it. I didn't think the humour was as good as Fallout, so I thought it was a bit on the nose a lot of the time, and it was a bit Rick and Morty adjacent, maybe.
It's like capitalism's bad, bro. Don't know if you've heard about it. It's a really hot take here.
And obviously I'm all aboard with it, but I just think Fallout had a little bit of a lighter touch, which it seems mental to say. But I just thought it was a bit Out of Worlds. I got fairly into it a few times and never really got to the end, because I was just like, the combat was quite, does they really have a stickiness to it? I liked it. But the reason I got an Xbox was because Starfield was announced, and I thought, well, this is going to be one of the greatest games of all time. And I'll have to.
Exactly, and you were correct.
I'm like Cassandra, cursed with my visions, but I knew Starfield was going to come out, so I didn't get a PS5 because of Starfield. And now, obviously, I feel like I've made some mistakes, but I do think, coming from a kind of class perspective of video games, it's like the idea of being a wee guy and the idea of having, if I could go back, or if Game Pass could be in the 2000s, in the noughties, it's like the idea of being a wee guy who doesn't have any money, but his dad pays for Game Pass. And you just have access to, so it reminds me of like the demo discs of the PlayStation magazine era, which so many games I got from just playing one or two levels on a demo. And honestly, I was so shite at games as a wee guy that I was only playing the first two levels of games I actually bought. So I have more experience of some games that were just demos than I do at some games that I bought for 40 quid in Electronic Boutique.
I do think it will change the kind of tastes of younger folk when they get older, because it will be like, when you, from people kind of mine Christopher's age, when you were younger, your taste was influenced by the 3 or 4 games that you bought every couple of months. But now, if you can just play 100 things for whatever.
It's the TV situation. I'm worried about that with my daughter, because she watches a load of shite on YouTube now, like kids YouTube and that.
VGC, the video game podcast.
Well, of course, she watches it all the time. I don't even censor it for her. She's 6. She knows. She swears like a mouth like a sailor. But like when I worry that when she grows up, because we're old enough that we can say, oh, do you mind this show? Oh, I remember that. When you grow up, oh, do you remember Nightmare? Do you remember this? Do you remember that? And most people you speak to of your age can remember it. She's going to be like, oh, do you remember fucking this YouTube channel? No, I was too busy watching that YouTube channel. Nobody will have shared memories.
The death of the monoculture, they call it.
Oh,
yeah,
that'll be it then.
Monoculture.
That's why when
God
shite like Gavin and Stacey, the Christmas special comes out and it does like 15 million viewers, and the BBC is like wanking themselves stupid because it's like one of the last programs on earth that can still kind of. That kind of thing won't exist. It's the only thing that has
Mrs.
that.
Brown's Boys.
Yeah, Miss Brown's Boys, God rest her. The only thing that can do that still is like sport. That's why networks were paying so much for wrestling, even when it was really, really shite. They were just like, well, it's a live thing that people generally only watch when it's on, because you two are obviously both huge marks like myself. Like, I don't like catching up on Raw if I can help it. Like, watching Raw live, even if it's shite, to me is better than watching a taped Raw.
Can we stop a second? Mm-hmm. Did you see The Rock's promo?
Oh, the promo about wanting Cody's hole.
I've not watched Raw since I went to Netflix.
See, can I tell you what happened in SmackDown last week? Because I love to hear that. I stayed up for it. They're like, The Rock's coming back to SmackDown. I'm like, oh yeah, fucking something's going to happen here. Rock comes out. And Cody calls it Cody Rhodes, and like, here we go, here's WrestleMania.
They're going to solve that problem where they completely shagged the match.
So Rock comes out and goes, Cody Rhodes, I fucking love you, mate. No, words to that effect. He's like,
he'd had a few cans.
He's absolutely steaming. He's like, Cody boy. And he kept jumping between shoot and work. And they kept going, oh, we backstage, we had some, whatever this drink is, we had some glasses of that vodka or some shit.
Squid Game mango energy drink.
Sponsored by Squid Game. He said, oh, Cody, mate, and we're best pals and everything. And he said, but you've got one thing I want, and that's that belt. And you're like, all right, it's going to be a title fight. And then he says, he spoke for fucking ages. We'll get to the point. He's like, I want your soul. And then just left. And everyone's like, fuck does that mean?
And Cody was left standing there like, what expression am I playing here? Am I playing like...
He's like a weird face. And he's like,
am I playing a consolation? Is it I'm ready to fight him? Or is it a moment of understanding? And then The Rock did a press conference and he was like, you know what, the Rock character and the Cody Rhodes character, these are two characters that don't necessarily need to fight. I love this storyline because it's a storyline that resolved without a match. And everybody was just like, there's breaking kayfabe, and then they're standing with a script and going, right, so we're going to do this light and cue and this light, like, and no one can say no to The Rock, obviously, because he's the big boss. But
he was swearing and stuff in the lead up, and everybody was like, oh, why can everybody not be listening? It's like, oh, if anybody else swore, they would get fined and shit.
He did that again, SmackDown. They had to bleep him a couple of times and dropping F-bombs all over the place. It's like, mate, but if this doesn't end with a soul on a pole match, what's the fucking point? like it's people are taking it like literally, going, what does that mean? Like thinking it was like Mortal Kombat. I think it just means he wants to own him.
The thing is, The Rock reminds me a lot of Elon Musk in the sense that he has a really fragile ego as a huge celebrity, and if his last thing doesn't do well, he's grasping rapidly to like get it back. So obviously
Black Adam fucked him up so bad, man. Like,
he did that, and then he did Red One, which is a Mad Santa film, and then when they sold that to Amazon, he posted on Twitter like, thanks to all the Amazon execs, this film's got a lot of verticals that can really help us in the next year. It's like, who are you, man? Like,
after he did Rampage, he should have stopped, because that was the highest point of his career was Rampage. He should have stopped then.
He just fucks me off. Like, I never like seeing him anymore. Does The Rock do anything for you still, Chris?
I was never a big Rock guy because I just missed the Attitude Era. Really,
really?
I was a Ruthless Aggression guy. I was a WCW boy.
Oh yeah.
You're a Cena boy then.
I was kind of, you know, when Cena was coming through beating the Big Show for the US Championship at 20, I was like, this guy's got something about him, you know.
This guy's going to go far.
I did really like him. I remember when it was like him versus Paul Heyman as the SmackDown GM, and Rhino was involved, and it was a great time.
Do you remember when he was stabbed in a club?
Yeah, by Carlito's bodyguard, Jesus. Yeah, that was my era.
When are the WWE games going to recreate that? Like,
it's just frustrating because obviously most people you speak to, because the Attitude Era coincided with it being free on TV in the UK, everybody you speak to is like, oh, the glory days, The Rock and Stone Cold and The Undertaker and Triple H coming in and Test, and people get obscure and they're like, Test and fucking Midian and all these people, really obscure people. But then my memories are like, Carlito's bodyguard Jesus stabbing John Cena in a nightclub just after he wins the US Championship when Rene Dupree's kicking about, and it's like,
Kenzo Suzuki.
I mean,
Paul
nobody
London's.
has any nostalgia for Kenzo Suzuki but me, and it's a hard way to live. It's like the death of the monoculture. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Everybody's living this past life where everybody knows what everybody's talking about, and then I'm sitting here talking about what was his wife's name, Kenzo Suzuki's wife, like.
Oh.
She might have just been called Kimono, and maybe I'm putting
I think she
fake
literally
racism
was.
on the WWE, but I wouldn't put it past them.
No, I definitely wouldn't put it past
His
them.
original character was supposed to be a reincarnation of the last Japanese emperor,
really?
Hiroshito, who was like, a fascist god guy who renounced his godhood, and he was supposed to be like, I'm back in a new body and I'm a god again. And with this godhood, I'm going to challenge for the United States Championship.
Brian Gerwitz pitching this to Vince, and Vince is like, yeah.
It was the same time as Heidenreich was supposed to be like an unfrozen Nazi or something. They were like, bring back the fascists, and now obviously they're actually doing that in real life.
Vince was ahead of his time. I mean, the thing that I remember about Kenzo Suzuki, and I think I said this in the pod before, his finisher, the Kenzo Suzuki slide, was you'd essentially go into like a clothesline situation, but hold the other person's shoulder and then swing your foot behind their legs to like slam them to the ground. I did this to a peer of mine in, let's say, primary 4 or 5.
That was the STO was a big move in school. Yeah,
because it's so easily done, and let me tell you, the back of their head bounced off that ground with such force that really only an injury that you can recover from as a child when you're kind of bendy and pliable.
Yeah.
Similarly, the attitude adjustment. I'm sad that I've completely transitioned to calling it that out of the FU.
Anymore.
Very easy to do, which was enjoyable.
That's concerning. The ones that are easy to do are the ones that you'd think they would have changed.
Yeah.
They do the whole. Don't try this at home. We're pretending professionals, and then they give Seth Rollins a curb stomp.
Yeah,
It's like,
jumping on somebody's
I can
head.
stand on a boy's head pretty easily.
Do you think that's happening now? Do you think in primary schools across Scotland there's like Canadian destroyers going on? People are doing super kicks and slapping their legs. Like, it's just.
I done a shining wizard to a boy.
Nice. An adversary, or was it?
I was just like, "Can I try this?" And he was like, "What is it?" And I was like, "Just let me try it." And it's a running, jumping knee.
This may get cut, but
for legal reasons, or
back in my high school days, there's this wee boy who was quite clatty, and he asked me to powerbomb him once in the park. And I powerbombed him a belter, and he was in pain, like quite badly in pain. But on the upside, he grew up to be a convicted. So in that sense, like I feel like justice was done. In a sense, because like I don't feel quite as bad about it. So,
Powerbomb the pedos, man.
Exactly.
Every pedo should be powerbombed. You were starting that movement.
I was actually the trendsetter, so you're welcome.
I'm going to start selling like white Fruit of the Loom t-shirts with that scroll on it and selling it at punk shows.
PTP on them.
Yeah. So Avowed.
The great thing about Obsidian's writing is, I think it's kind of the frustrating thing with wrestling just now is like Triple H is like in the background at the inauguration and stuff. And like, you're like, this is literally fascist entertainment on Netflix.
And they're taking all the Saudi blood money at the same time.
Saudi blood money, but then also there was that interview. There was a documentary on Vince on Netflix who had just bought WWE, and they were like, "Oh, look at all this terrible stuff. Thank God this guy's gone because this guy's terrible." And it's like, Triple H has got a prize spotty relationship to race, and like has Nazi iconography on his trunks and his gear, and there was that black wrestler in NXT who was upset because his t-shirt was like a blackface design, and then Triple H was like, "All right, you're fired." You know what I mean? Like, there was the Booker T match at WrestleMania 19. There was there was some statistically there was like 20 pay-per-views where there was no black wrestlers in a single match or something. It was just relegated to the tag division, which is such a strange form of racism to be like, you can only have a pal.
You cannot stand on your own 2 feet. You must be on a graphic with someone else.
You must be in a gang. So it was really, and then AEW is so fucking boring just now. It's like, I looked at I don't know what my issue with AEW is. I think the punk stuff just kind of ruined it. I'm just away for wrestling just now, but yeah, I'm really uncomfortable with it. But I might get back into it.
I'm currently on a situation where the one thing you've got to say about WWE, fantastic YouTube admins, very good, very quick at getting their stuff up. So I'll watch whatever's going on with Punk every week, and then I'll see if there's bits and pieces. The Squared Circle Reddit ruins all of wrestling because you can watch all the best bits in like 2 seconds and see Dave Meltzer said this, and it's like, okay, I'll see you in a week. I don't need to, unless they hype it up. Like when we reviewed the first Raw on Netflix, it's like, okay, I'll watch that because that's actually a thing, and I'll watch WrestleMania and all that pish.
I watch the pay-per-views.
Yeah,
I'm not calling them PLEs.
It's premium live events.
It's that weird thing with the renaming of stuff where it's like, I remember when I was like, it'll never be Morrison's, it'll always be Safeway. I remember when Starburst instead of Opal Fruits, I was like, it's always going to be Opal Fruit. But then eventually you just find yourself saying it, and I'm worried about the first time I sincerely say premium live event.
I know. Yeah. That'll be the day I die.
You can tell.
Do you remember when the public finally won, when they tried to change Cocoa Pops to Choco Krispies? And
see,
they
you've said this before.
They did. They changed it. I'd rather have a bowl of Choco Krispies. That was how they sang it.
Wow.
And all the more in tune. And it lasted for like 3 months. And the public went berserk. And they finally, like Coco the Monkey came on TV in an advert. I remember it well. Not wearing a suit, just like still animated. And he's like,
turtleneck.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we've listened.
They've literally said we've listened. Like we heard you what you want. So now we can finally say again, I'd rather have a bowl of Cocoa Pops. And that was the last time the nation came together.
It's like, is that not what happened with the ending of Mass Effect 3?
Yeah, people went, they got Choco
Pop.
Mass Effect 3 was the Choco Krispies of the video games industry.
They got the monkey to come out and go, look, we're sorry, we're going to sort this out for the time Andromeda comes.
Coco the Monkey did come out and add a 4th ending to Cocoa Pops, famously.
The thing with sorry to talk about video games, but
I would love to.
This is the only venue that I get to talk about it because my partner hates me. The thing with Avowed is I played like a preview of it, played a couple hours, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I'm into this. Does it feel like this is a stopgap? Because when Microsoft bought Bethesda, they were like, how much of the next Elder Scrolls have you made? And they all went, we've got a spreadsheet with the word Elder Scrolls on it, kind of starting for there.
We drew a map.
Yeah. We know it's going to be fantasy, right?
I think you could use magic, but also use might. I think it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of, there's some kind of, obviously, crunch. I had a partner who was involved in video games from a kind of production side.
Hideo Kojima?
Yeah, me and Kojima used to shine. But yeah, so I've seen, to be serious.
You've seen the dark side of crunch?
I've seen the dark side of crunch, and it's like, it is people's lives being torn up, so I do respect that time needs to be taken with things, but to see the slowdown in terms of like Morrowind to Oblivion to Skyrim to what's next, and Fallout 3 to New Vegas to Fallout 4, which a lot of people don't like, but one of my favourite games, and then it just seems like Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, this kind of live service ification breaks my heart so much. It's like, I want to have experienced the next bit, and it's just been dragged out. And I know it makes more money, and I understand the bottom line with these companies and stuff, but it's just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's how long it takes for things to come out now is a problem that's only going to get worse, really. Like, you start thinking in terms of, many GTAs have I got left in me before I'm in my box? Like
2?
Yeah.
But it's just, I was a wee boy when like GTA 1 was on the PlayStation, and then I was a teenager when and then I was like 12 when 3 came out, and then I remember being in high school when San Andreas and Vice City, and then I remember I remember going to John Lewis for some reason to get GTA 4 and having lunch with my mum in the wee cafe John Lewis and Buchanan Galleries, and looking out and looking at my box going, this is going to be amazing. And then I didn't really play GTA 5, but like, so it's been really long since I played the last Grand Theft Auto, because it's been since GTA 4. And it's just like, I don't want to live in this world anymore. I want things to come out.
You want to do a contemporary reference here, but in the South Park episode where
Cartman
where Cartman really wants the Wii and he freezes himself until he tries to freeze himself until it comes out. I think about that all the time. So this is a game I'm dying to get. And obviously, once again, the privileged bourgeoisie of the games journalists. Like we get the game like 2 weeks earlier, whatever like that. So that release date is like is shorter for even us. And I'm like, man, I want that Metal Gear 3 remake so badly right now. Like if I could do myself a serious head injury that could clear up by like August, I'd be quite happy
I can't do Metal Gear.
No? Too political, too woke.
Brian, that's pretty much it. It's always just annoyed me.
See, there's a man that shoots bees out of his face, Chris. What's the problem?
The cutscenes just annoy me. It's like, I know I'm not going to be shagging Kojima anytime soon with part like this, but it just doesn't appeal to me in the slightest. It's too up its own arse.
Yeah.
For want of a better phrase.
But you're a big David Lynch man, because we broke the news to Chris on the podcast that he died, which was harsh. But for the content, I had to get his reaction.
Yeah.
Have you done Alan Wake 1? Mm-hmm. Okay, so when are you going to play Alan Wake 2? One of the best games in years.
It's on the list.
VGC Game of the Year 2020.
I know.
Whatever year it was.
I definitely had a part in that. I'll play it. It's on the list. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I've got a backlog that goes back to the early 360s.
Yeah, to black and white era. Fucking Amiga. That's a good question, actually. Are you a backlog man, or are you like, oh, I missed it, fuck it, let's just, time marches onwards?
You just need to make peace with things.
Yeah.
You know?
I can.
You need to take a zen approach to the game. There's just so... I mean, I still need to play GTA 5.
Yeah.
Which I think I tweeted a while ago going, is GTA 5 good? Did you not message me going, is this a bit?
It's like, it's an interesting bit of satire to a game that sold 270 million copies. Like, is it any good though?
I've tried to play it twice and just bounced off. There's like an early mission you need to break into somebody's house, and I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's like, somebody was like, oh, you need to click. I was like, see if it's going to be 100 missions, or you just need to find a specific window. I was like, nah.
I don't like the story in any GTA game. I'd
really
get as far as the point where you can kind of piss around in the open world, and then that kind of gets stuck there. At that point, I've never completed a GTA.
I like the story of 4. I think that's probably the one that holds up the best, and I think 4 generally, like the vibe of it is so brown and grim, and like it's whereas GTA 5's a bit.
It's like you never get nice clothes.
Yeah. You
I remember
look
being in
like
the fifth shop going, why am I just wearing grey trackies? and like beige zipper? Like, when does the nice clothes unlock? And they never come.
They never do.
Daryl O'Brien made a point years and years ago that there's a mission in that game where you need to like drive from one island to the next, and if you attract any attention, you fail it. So you have to like go into traffic and go through a toll booth, and it takes out of your money. And then you need to go and try and snipe somebody, and you have like a millisecond to actually do it. And it's like that arduous boredom of what it's probably like to be an assassin. It's like that's closer to this American dream thing, whereas now GTA 5 was a lot more, okay, we've got our Zuckerberg character, here's our thoughts on Facebook, Life Invader, which is pretty much my main fear for GTA 6. Like, if GTA 6 opens and there's like a Trump analog, well, that's it, game's gone. Like,
it'd be cool to assassinate him though.
It would, I mean, you'd have plenty to hit. How's that dickhead? I mean, I don't actually think.
Careful. I've already said about this. This should be edited already. So
we need to keep that with some Sorry, we've got some sponsors, and they're not happy about that.
Sponsored by sponsors.
We're sponsored by the RNC. Whether or not Trump was actually shot at, if he was, how do you miss a head that size? Is my question. As a man with a very shootable head, like
that was a proper sliding doors moment.
Yeah,
it's like, what would have happened if he hadn't just turned his head? Like,
it was embarrassing. Try harder.
You'd be absolutely in that few moments before that guy's head was like made into paper mache. The shooter must have thought, I've fucked this so badly. I've done nothing in my life, and this is it.
His last words were sake.
But Avowed.
Yeah.
Obsidian's Avowed is a stopgap. I suppose it's a stopgap in terms of like they done you know, they'd done New Vegas, and New Vegas, I think, is one of the best video games ever.
Yep.
One of the best pieces of political art ever. Really wonderful. And had like a year to do it. And it's like, I just think I'll always give you a chance, you know? I'll play Outer Worlds even if it's a bit stinking.
Yeah.
And the version for the Switch is like
Unplayable.
looks like it's made of plasticine in every bit. And you're just like, what is this? People are shooting you and they haven't loaded in yet. The Switch, it really upset me. That was almost Starfield level upset.
Yeah, the Switch version.
The Switch version of Outer Worlds, I was like, I lost faith in like games for a while.
As a man who travels the highways and byways, you know, a Steam Deck, man, that seems like it'd be right up your alley.
I'm scared
Yeah.
and stuff. I'm not a PC gamer.
Yeah.
No.
I'm a console guy, and I just don't know about, you know, emulators and stuff. You need to download the right files. I'm no tech savvy in the slightest.
The Steam Deck has made crime incredibly easy. Like there's almost to the point where Steam's like, here's how you do it. Here's how you get like all the game. Like there's a program called EmuDeck that gives you all the right information. It's a 5-minute YouTube video now as opposed to like a 2-hour one.
Yeah.
it's very possible to do. But
Switch to day one then, or
I think I'll be switched to day one. Yeah. I think let's see why not. It's exciting. What do you think about
stand
it?
outside a shop?
definitely, aye, 100%.
Yeah.
If it's going to give us Outer Worlds, not the non-plastic version, the one that didn't look like Aardman made it. Then,
If I can play a game from 5 years ago, reasonably
I
good
know,
quality.
at 30 frames a second. Sold.
This is the thing. Like this is my problem with like the Steam Deck as well. Like anytime there's a massive sale on or stuff, I'm like, oh, I could get that. A game I've already completed, probably reviewed.
I
Like,
recently bought all the Lego games.
Oh, yeah,
you
'cause
play
you're
on the
needing
Steam
them.
Deck. I'm like, Lego Jurassic Park. Why?
if it comes a day where you're sitting there, like, I'm really jonesing for something, what am I going to? I'm going to play Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. That's probably the low point of your
the
professional gaming
the
career.
Lego Movie 2 video game
Yeah.
sold $199.
Yeah, I think that the Switch 2 is exciting. Like, obviously, it's exciting because it's a new console. I'm probably in the minority where I'm quite happy for it just to be like a more powerful version of the Switch. Like, I'm not arsed about the fucking mouse control that's allegedly
That
coming,
looks
all
cool,
that kind
man.
of stuff. But what are you going to use it for, though? You use it
PC games.
Aye.
I think people use it for 5
Roller
minutes.
Coaster
They
Tycoon.
just released Roller Coaster Tycoon on the Switch. I'm like, why? No, but Switch 2 makes
Mouse
sense.
controller.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, maybe.
I would rattle that day one when it comes out.
Yeah.
If Roller Coaster Tycoon comes out for it.
There's a new
I'll roll it.
3D Mario and you're playing Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I'm trying to play Mario with a mouse. Mario Paint though, surely.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I'd
god.
imagine so.
The capabilities of Nintendo and a mouse.
A mouse! Obviously, because when the recent Civ came out, prior to that, they were talking a lot about when they released Civ 6 on the Switch, it sold way better than they thought. So they threw out a load of the work for Civ 7 and started it again with the idea of it being a more consoleized game. So that's like a natural one to fanny about with a mouse
Oh,
on.
definitely.
Does it come with an internet browser though? That's the question. Because
You can't have a mouse and no internet.
yeah, but internet browsers on consoles are pretty rare these days. There is one on PS5, but it's hidden. The only way you can, so there's an internet browser that you can access if you send someone or someone sends you a link in messages. So if you send yourself a link to videogameschronicle.com, vgc.gg apparently.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it'll open an internet browser that's like fully functional. It's the same one from the PS4, but they just don't surface it.
Is that because
It's because of porn, almost certainly.
that plus, not that I would know.
Yeah.
As I understand it, a lot of times when you can hack a console, it's done through a browser,
Yeah.
through going to some website and injecting some sort of hack into the console, and that's how the Wii was originally done. That's how like various systems are done. You open up the browser and you can go through that way. So I wonder if that's a security measure, but if you
Maybe.
get to it
This
anyway,
is such
then-
a cyberpunk conversation.
I
I'm
know.
loving it,
It's
man. I'm in
proper.
2077 right now.
What level of
I'm in
info?
nice say.
Level of infosec do you need to be at where it's like, right, this is impregnable, we've not given them a browser, however if you just send a message with a link you can open a browser that is fully functional. Any way to get around that? No, I'm sorry, not
Absolute
quite.
hacking legends sitting going, I've figured it out, I've cracked the code. I sent myself a
Message
Google link.
yourself. Silverhead.
Son of a bitch. Done.
I wanted to talk to you about Pokemon TCG Pocket,
My god.
the game of the moment.
My God.
How
Before we get to Avowed, let's talk about Pokemon.
Yeah.
TCG
Avowed's in the third hour of this. Pokemon TCG Pocket. How are you feeling about the new set? Are you still playing regularly with the new set?
Yeah.
I'm on the verge of snapping my phone every time I play it because
What decks are you coming across that are upsetting you?
Darkrai. It's all Darkrai.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's so overpowered. The power creep's insane. You can't really fucking function with the original decks. And
Yeah.
I was a superior guy for my sins, you know. Shamefully, I was a superior deck.
I was a Charizard man through and through because I pulled 4 of the immersive Charizards and I was like, that's a sign here. It's a sign for God.
My pal Roscoe was slagging me off for having a Pikachu deck, Pikachu EX.
Oh yeah, Pikachu EX.
Joe, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
I'll get 2 Pikachu EXs.
Pikachu EX, you can hit
Whatever EX you get first, you build your deck around that. I had the fucking
100%.
Krabby deck at starting out. You know, it was
90 power.
underpowered.
Yeah.
Put your 3 originals in the deck, 90 power.
You can do
Yeah.
90 damage like second turn with Pikachu.
Yeah.
That's the Articuno deck is also very good. If you get
Fucked. So broke. The
if you get
Misty thing's so
Misty,
broke.
you're flying.
Now it's Palkia EX is like the new thing, and then Gyarados for a while, but
See, when
fuck
you're-
me,
see,
man.
you're
There's so many
playing-
broken decks. It's great.
So when you're playing a CPU game
Yeah.
and it comes up and says you get the first turn,
Mm-hmm.
you just quit like I do. I just quit instantly. I go, fuck that.
So on Pokemon TCG Pocket, I was just returned from the Pokemon European Championships where Pokemon TCG
Oh yeah,
Pocket
sorry. Fuck yeah.
has not featured. It's not one of the games. It's Pokemon. It's a trading card game. It's Pokemon Go. It's Pokemon Unite, and just the video game itself.
How did this happen? How was people playing it anyway? Like in the corridors?
There was a lot of packs.
There's an
getting
illegal.
opened, but
What this movement?
it'll be on the site soon. But I spoke to the high hegion of Pokemon esports, and someone asked about Pokemon TCG Pocket, and he gave like a fairly pedestrian answer. But I feel the secret answer is this game is like not balanced whatsoever. So if we start giving money for it, it will be like Darkrai versus Darkrai for the entire tournament.
But it's always answers always come out, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think Superior would function as a counter because Darkrai's weak to grass. I think.
Yeah.
Because of some.
Aren't
you
we
know,
all?
incredibly weak to grass. But like, so I think some answer will come out.
Yeah.
I was running for a while. A it was Wheezing and Alakazam, and it was so different from a lot of other decks because there was no EX, so you would just die one at a time, so that would buy you some time, and Coughing was quite a good stall tank, and then Alakazam punishes people who have too much energy.
Yeah.
So when people were running the whole 10 grass energy Celebi EX, you just whip out Alakazam. Oh, I've done 500 damage because you've put too much energy into him and he hates. And that was, when that was working, that was great. And now I've tried to update it with the little tools that you can add, like a big cape. I've been making my Weezing wear a big cape, even though he's just ahead. It's been great. What a game!
Yeah.
I've been buying Pokemon cards in service stations.
Yeah.
When I'm on tour because it's quite not a sad life, it's just boring being a touring comedian.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, we're in Bristol, so it's a 9-hour drive, and you stop at a few service stations. And what I do is I just buy a little booster pack, put it in my inside jacket pocket, and then if I really hit an emotional low, just open it up. Oh,
In case of an emergency.
Or something.
Absolute silence in the rest of the car. I was just like, yeah, nearly there.
Yep, it's the Minecraft cube salt Pokemon. You're fucking ahead.
See what I don't understand about being a touring comedian? Everything. But the specific thing, I drove from Glasgow to Manchester recently to go to a gig.
It's like 5 hours into it.
It was meant to be 4 and we did it like 3.5.
Wow, nice.
Thanks to my foot being down. But the point being, after about 2 hours, I'm like, I can feel my brain shutting down and be like,
Yeah.
I could honestly fall asleep right here
it's
at
difficult.
100 mile an hour on the motorway. And I'm saying to my brain, I'm like, you will die. This is a guaranteed death, but that's still not enough to keep me awake. How do you do it? How do you drive with fucking John O'Groats to a gig in London, which I'm sure is a regular tour stop?
I don't drive.
No, well, that's the
that's-
key.
I
That's how
watched
you
the
do it.
Billy Connolly masterclass. on BBC, and anybody can watch it, I think. And it's just him going, "Get a driver, because you'll be dead tired when you get to Inverness," which is pretty good advice, you know. But it just means that you're beholden to somebody else wanting to be asleep after 2 hours, and you just need kind of Motorhead always said that was why they were called Motorhead, because when he was in Hawkwind before Motorhead, Lemmy would just drive and he would just take loads of speed, and the rest of them were on acid, so he kind of fell out with them because they were kind of operating at different levels. So I'm not advocating that more comedians should take amphetamines, but actually it would help.
Nor are we advocating driving 100 mile an hour, I should stress.
That was
for any of the fuzz listening.
That was exaggerated. Comedy is based on exaggeration.
Pokémon Pocket, because I was I was moving house for a while there, and I didn't have the internet over Christmas, so I was out of games. And then Pokemon Pocket TGC was like my only video game. That and Duolingo, my only video games. And like, I got really into it, and I'm loving it. I was a big Diamond and Pearl guy for the DS, so the new Dalgia and Palkia decks, all my faves are back. People are talking about it's Weavile.
The nice Weavile art rare in that set was
I love the wee drawings.
Yeah, they're so nice. That is like that's part of the reason that I'm so into the cards again. Like I bought
100%.
At EIC, they had a load of like side vendors from like you're not affiliated with Pokemon, but they were allowed to be in the hall, and they had big sheets of the alternate art cards from the recent sets, and they were like there were every alternate art card that was less than the price of a booster pack. I was like, I'll just take that one. I'll take that one. I'll take that, because I felt like I was making money, you know. When it's less than
an investment.
I've completely divorced the idea of luck from the booster pack game. So,
what did you get at the fucking championship?
So I got a Psyduck, a big yellow Psyduck jumper. I also got Chris Scullion one of these, because when I arrived, someone from the Pokemon company very sternly looked at me as if they were going to tell me that there was like a bomb threat in the arena, but they were like, the Psyduck jumpers are nearly gone. And I was like, okay, thank you for letting me know, because again, games industry bourgeoisie, they let us into the centre an hour before the filthy scum public. So I got our jumpers, I got a nice blue t-shirt with Psyduck on it, and I got some other wee bits.
Is this year of the Psyduck or something?
Probably
so it's weird because the mascot Pokemon was, I believe, Teal Mask Ogerpon, which is a legendary Pokemon from the most recent expansion.
These DLC legendaries are not
ruining the game.
They're not up to standard,
no.
Hence them being kind of shifted off the DLC. But Ogerpon was like the mascot Pokemon, but every year they do a mascot Pokemon from the modern games, but they also do like a side one that's like, here's one for the heads. So the one for the heads was Psyduck, which was good.
What's it called? Ogerpon?
Ogerpon.
I should be clear that I've not played it for a few generations. That sounds like somebody who doesn't play Pokemon making up the name of a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Do you collect Pokemon like Ogerpon and all that?
I like the Chinese leaf snail.
Oh yeah, Wo-Chien. Yeah. It was Wo-Chien.
Dangerous. What were they called? The fucking dangerous Chinese guys.
They did have some name like that, and one of them's like a goldfish, and it's called like Shiyu, and there's another one that's
Fish of Ruin or something.
Yeah,
he's like a wee goldfish in his eyes. Nice.
There's Chen Tao, which is a big white dog with big spikes coming out its mouth.
They were cool.
Yeah,
but they weren't a DLC. They were just
their main game.
Yeah,
although
they were cool.
I thought the way that you the way that you find these Pokemon in the game. This is a problem with modern Pokemon games. They don't make the quests to find the legendaries that interesting anymore. Ruby and Sapphire, you're learning Braille. Like, you're actually learning a life skill to get the Regis. But in this one, it was just like, there's these pink and yellow stakes all around the world. You collect all of them, and then you go to this big like manhole cover, and then it fades to black. The manhole cover is gone, and the Pokemon appears. It's like,
so pish.
Well, thanks for that.
No mystery.
Yeah, there really isn't. But I suppose you kind of sacrifice that when you do the open world style kind of thing, and you have so much to fit in. But I can't wait to see what those games look like on Gen 10. It'll be Generation 10 Pokemon on Switch 2. Like, that has to be something that's like impressive at least.
You would hope.
I tried to replay Scarlet and Violet there, and it's so ugly.
Yeah,
like it's not nice to look at.
I think that'll be due a Switch 2 like fancy patch.
Yeah, you hope.
Yeah,
that it can function.
This time functional. That's the entire Nintendo Direct. It's just like, here are all the games that now work.
Do you know? I don't know. I think it's kind of aye. But I'm excited for Switch 2. I'm excited to see what they do with Pokemon. But yeah, Pokemon TCG Pocket is just really a lovely way. Every couple hours, and I probably played too much, to be honest with you.
There's no such thing as too much TCG Pocket. Have you infected anyone else if you're sitting doing this in the back of cars?
Ross goes into it now, and he doesn't. He's one of these guys that just likes the first 151, which is, you know, a pathetic opinion. And then there's a comedian called Sam Lake who loves Pokemon, and I went on his podcast called I've Had a Rosé, Let's Talk About Feelings. Okay. And you're allowed to pick the topic, and it's like pick Pokemon. And we could have done a 10-parter, I think. We just barely scratched the surface. But I think I went to Tokyo last year, and I had the Pokemon dinner.
Oh, in the cafe.
Where Pikachu comes out and does a dance for you and stuff.
I heard the food is unacceptably bad, but the environment makes up for it.
Well, after Pikachu comes out and dances, he goes back and berates the chefs.
He does a Ramsay style. Pikachu's Kitchen Nightmares.
It's like casts
fucking raw. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd love to go to that cafe.
It's good. The food.
Not the best food you're going to get in Japan.
But you're paying for the ambience.
You're paying for the ambience, and you're paying. Oh, where else in the world can you get? I didn't even rate. I'm a big Pokemon head, and it was like, do you know there was the haunted teacup Pokemon from Sword and Shield?
Yeah.
Apparently, in one of the new DLCs, there was a matcha-fied version of that. Yep. So it was like a matcha tea. So it's like a poison ghost teacup who was grass.
Yeah.
And you could have an actual. You could drink him.
And that's him dead.
Finally.
And I ate Pikachu's ears were nachos and his head was rice, and I ate that.
Nacho?
Yeah, little nacho ears.
And is Japan a big place for nachos? I've never been. You two are bigger heads than me.
Is Japan a big place for nachos? Not traditionally. Not in the Edo period.
Anthony Bourdain in the middle of Sapporo.
There was more Edo period. There's more chili dogs.
If you go through this door, the best nachos you've ever had.
I remember when I went to Universal Studios Japan, they got wee kind of booths that do, you know, your kind of popcorn buckets and that. I can't remember exactly what it was because I never bought one, but I think it was a Bulbasaur with its arse out, just kind of bent over like that, like koi, and then you eat the popcorn out of its bulb. It was bulb, I believe.
I would love to do that.
If I go again, I'll definitely hunt one down. And
inauthentic, you'd want it to be a big head of lettuce out of the bulb, so it looked like you were actually eating the little character himself.
What Pokemon would you want to eat in an ideal world? I'd love a Slowpoke tail.
One of the fish ones, surely.
Yeah, probably. Slowpoke tails canonically can be eaten, so they've kind of crossed that boundary of that not being abuse. Whereas I feel like if you
they're too stupid, to know that they've been ate.
If you ate one of the more sentient beings, you might be in trouble. Like if you start eating Mewtwo, I think you would have something to say about it.
I mean, if you're talking the combination of it not putting up a fight and logically having enough to store for like kind of lengthy periods, and you've got to go Snorlax because you're getting a lot of meat.
He's but like
it might not be quality. But he's asleep.
He's asleep, yeah.
Can you not eat bear?
So I'm sure some places.
Oh, no. I've made a mistake. That's something else you're going to have to edit.
Unfortunately, Chris had a piece and bear for his breakfast and he's feeling terrible about it.
Sponsors are quaking. Do
you think we get sponsors?
Well, I think I would love. I just Slowpoke tail because they use it in the gold and silver. They're chopping them off, and you can buy one off of that wee guy if you hack it. I just want. What's the texture like? Pink.
Yeah, I mean,
how are they cooking it?
That's the thing. I'd want it absolutely incinerated. I wouldn't want it to taste anything like it looks. Can I have my Slowpoke tail blue, please? Just chop it off
shiny,
and put it right on my
very rare.
Yeah, just pop it right on my plate.
So how far into Avowed are you?
I finished it, but I didn't do all the
Oh.
side quests.
Right, I'm on the Italian bit.
There's an Italian bit.
There's
like the
there's one of the
second
lassies who joined you looks quite Italian, and that's clearly
Looks
just-
Italian.
Well, she's
and-
got an
and-
Italian name as well, which I don't remember. Like it's like
And the area's called like
the
the
area's called Italy.
It's called
that was
Venice.
that was the clue.
The first area is called, what is the first area called? Like
I don't remember because I've just totally. I know the main bit is the Living Lands.
the Living Lands,
And
and,
then-
there's a Dead Fires nearby. I'd imagine that's for the Pillars of Eternity games, but I never played them. It's the
Maybe
same world or something.
That's the one thing that annoyed me is he kept making references to the Pillars of Eternity all the time, so that the fans of that can go oh. But every 2 minutes, it's like for no reason at all. They'll say, especially later in the game, no spoilers, but when they're talking about other things, they say, "Oh, this was like, do you remember when Gladwyn fell at the Battle of fucking
Off,
whatever?" I'm
yeah.
like, I really don't. But they've got this thing. You know, it's cool. Like when they're talking, if something comes up in blue, halfway through the conversation, you can bring up like a glossary. So it says that that's you. You're like,
That's to stop people going looking at their phone. You're like, what the fuck?
Googling it all the
Yeah.
time.
What's a Nimnat? What the fuck's that?
But I like that element of it. But yeah, there's definitely an Italy bit.
Yeah.
But I don't like the way. What was it they call you again? Because my mind's gone blank after beating it.
You're
So
the envoy.
The envoy. And I hate how in the voice acting, half them call you envoy and half them call you envoy. I'm like, can you pick one? Because it really annoys me, and it shouldn't annoy me as much as it does.
There shouldn't be American accents in fantasy.
This is a real issue because
Yeah.
both your first, I've not had the third Italian lassie join, but I have met her. I've just got these two guys, one of whom's like a blue guy who's like a bruiser, and one of whom's a dwarf who's like a hunter, and they're both like, you know, if you want if you're gonna wash at night, it'd make the camp smell a lot nicer. Well, you shouldn't be, you know, just like, where the fuck are these cunts from? They're from Ohio or something?
I saw somebody say one of them, the blue boy, did Garrus in Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's
that
Gareth
right? It's the same
Vakarian's
boy.
voice. Yeah.
The fourth one
I
makes
don't
up
mind
for
Americans in space.
they're allowed there.
Yeah.
See, I liked the Star Wars rule of like the English accents being the horrible empire. But I think for fantasy, I want it to be like Tolkien voices essentially.
Let's list acceptable
Yeah.
voices.
Yeah.
Irish, Welsh,
Yep.
Scottish,
Yep.
English,
Yep.
Russian, French, Italian, Japanese.
Yep.
That's the
Almost anything.
That's all of them.
Apart from get your bow and arrows down by the campsite.
Well, I almost got annoyed right at the start because like, the very first person you encounter in the game is a Scottish woman in jail. And I was like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, I did that in my previous.
Hold on.
And she's drunk and she's taking heroin.
Fucking bunch of bastards. Oh, we're going like this, is it?
Deering bastards have blown me in this bloody jail, and that bear's
Did you rescue her? Or did you?
What did
leave
you
her?
do?
I rescued her.
Aye.
But the thing
You
is,
can't leave a Scottish lassie
I
in
know
a
that's
jail
what I was
on a
thinking.
prison island.
Because the wee blue boy next to you who disappears at one point. You're accompanied by a boy right at the start, some wee blue troll boy.
I thought he would show up more.
At the end of the game, I went back to the start again to do like a guide on what the different classes do, and he was there. I was like, "Oh, what the fuck happened to you?" I'm like, "When did you disappear? I totally forgot." But he's standing next to the prison saying, "Don't let her out. She's a prick," and you're like, "Mate, she's Scottish. What are you?"
But the game's got
People
moral
again,
choices, you know. That's like I bet that's directly from an E3 walkthrough. It's like, so you can actually choose whether or not you save
This
this.
is what I was
lassie.
hoping. I was hoping that I was like, "This is the first moral choice. This is going to massively affect." how the
Did you
game
get
goes, whether-
the follow up?
Aye.
Yeah,
And
later
it was
on,
so
it's
underwhelming.
like a pirate. It's like, oh, she's my pal and you saved her, so you don't need to fight me.
So that was when the moral choice leads to. Did you see her standing at the roadside later on with somebody else who's ready to boot your arse and she's like, leave him.
That is all
Oh,
these games.
cheers.
On accents, I reviewed Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is obviously set in Middle
really want to
Europe.
play that, yeah.
It's very, very good. And the only issue is, so there's a segment when you befriend some Hungarian guys who are seen as invaders in this land, and they have Hungarian accents, as you would expect. But then when you finish the quest, the voice of the characters changes, So you'll be talking to them, and it's like, okay, that's probably the last time I'll have a cutscene with them. So they just go back to being like normal NPCs, being like, hello, how are you? Oh, what are you doing? But in this, they go into feel like, what are you doing? Sorry, what's happening? And 2 minutes ago, 2 minutes before that, they were like, thank you for helping me get out of this situation. It's all over the place, the voices and
Can't
that.
go patch that.
Okay. Honestly, there's so many bad accents in it that I feel like they could hand wave. But Europe was in a time of transition. People were going about everywhere. This is some kind of like Pangean landscape where everyone in the world is connected, so they can just walk from place to place.
Are you doing all the side quests as you get to them, or are you saving some?
I done every side quest in the first bit except all the little totem things. I got 4 of them, and I was kind of happy with that. Although they seem very powerful, and now I'm like a totem head. But like, it's just an interest because obviously people are like, this is just a Skyrim rip-off. This is just Obsidian going, this is how we would have done Skyrim, and it is kind of equivalent to the kind of battle between the Stormcloaks and the Empire. It's just this time, instead of it being obvious that you should be a Stormcloak, as you are like with the Empire, and it feels kind of weird being it's something that kind of struck me with Pokemon Legends Arceus, where you are a colonist and like you are essentially colonizing as a Japanese person the Hokkaido Islands, which were brutally colonized by Japan. And you're like doing it in a Pokemon game, and the tribes are like, God, I wish someone would help with this big rock scyther. Hopefully that's like
you're getting
genocide that was going to help us, and you do it.
You're getting your instructions on a mobile phone given to you by God.
That game's mental. I loved it, but that is a mental game. You get a God phone in the past, and then you colonize a land, like an island full of people.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels crazy.
Finally, Pokemon getting back to real shit.
Yeah.
They used to reference wars. That's what it was all about.
The only 2 things I'll say about Avowed without spoiling anything is the 4th companion makes up for it with the accents, and you'll reach a point of no return at one point. Do your side quest before that, because it doesn't let you clean them up after that, which I found out to my
the hard way
disappointment, because I didn't quick save before it. And I was like, you bastard, like, so I've lost so many side quests.
Shit.
And I'm not starting again, fuck this.
Yeah.
So
But I feel like I'm trying to do stuff on an island when I get there, and I'm just, maybe it's a skill issue, but I'm dying extremely quickly, and it's only through becoming overpowered through the side quest that I'm actually coping with the fighting. So I feel like you really need the idea of just going straight to the main stuff and never touching it now. So I'd feel like you're a wee wimpy guy.
No, it's tough going. But
what class are you?
I was. Do you know, I don't even remember the one I picked, because you know at the start you pick your background. So I picked like the scholar or something.
I was a scholar as well.
I don't really like the rest of the stories. It's all kind of really wanky backstories.
Apparently,
like,
one of them is that you had a romantic relationship with the Inquisitor, with the mask.
with Hideo Kojima.
Oh wait, that's my actual backstory.
I was like, I want escapism here. I don't want to just be myself.
But I'm absolutely.
What weapons are you going with just now?
I'm a wand in this hand and a book in this hand, and I'm just fireball here, jing jang jong over here with some. I got an electric wand in Italy. And
all right, Alex Turner.
I got an electric wand in Italy.
I think they call it a vape. No, I went for big Conan sword one, and then I can't remember what they call it. The big stupid rifle thing.
Oh,
it's got a really weird name.
Yeah, 2-handed rifle, 2-handed sword.
Aye,
nice.
Cool. Shield not necessary.
Shield not necessary.
Big claymore I just found called the Cow Splitter.
Nice. That's
making me want to replay it as a fucking barbarian and just split a bunch of cows open.
Until you realise you have to play like half the game to be strong enough. Like that's always the worst part of the Souls games, when you find something that's like the sword of eternal darkness, and it's like you need to be max level, you need to have 1,000,000 strength, and then you go back to your wee guy and you're like, right, sack my character off, I'm going to rebuild it in this specific way.
That's the only thing that annoys me about it, is leveling up the weapons, because you constantly feel this stress that I need to level these weapons up, because you start with there's like 5 tiers, like common, fine, excellent, or whatever, and you're like, oh, gather all the common daggers I can, and you can, as soon as you pick them up, if you've got a duplicate, you can turn it into parts that can be used to kind of level them up. But you then realise as you go through it, like as you get to each new bit, you're finding in chests like the next level up anyway. I've wasted my time leveling these up, because there's a So by the end of it, you're picking up just like legendary ones in chests anyway. And you're like, oh, I've just wasted so much of my time. You're just like,
I was
leveling
really
shit up.
hammering out little daggers to try and make my one better. And now I'm in Italy and they're
throwing ones
everywhere.
at
You know, it's like you don't need to upgrade. Stuff like that's kind of frustrating.
No.
I like it, but it's not as good as I love Skyrim. I was playing Skyrim recently, and it's like it's just such a nice place to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, it's so cozy and like the music's really nice. Like obviously a lot of it's quite broken and stuff, but I don't really think I'll be like, I just want to go hang out in the Living Lands again.
No.
Whereas with Skyrim, I was like, man, this is fucking. I want to live here. I have lived. I've put months and months and months into Skyrim. Like I just think it's wonderful. I love Bethesda games, as said. But yeah, it's
missing something.
It's missing something. Yeah, and I don't know if it's just the kind of unask-forable AAA crunch polish that you would have got with a Bethesda game, and this idea is like, well, we'll just try to be cool here. So it's just levels, it's not really open world, but it's not really.
It's not good enough.
It's a fucking solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And that's what I want just now.
Aye.
Fair enough.
It's kind of what Xbox needs as well, because the rate they're firing them out at, nobody else is firing out. None of their other studios are firing out games that quickly.
Yeah.
If maybe if more of them did, then they wouldn't have got into the situation they were in. But like Obsidian's just like shiting them out left, right, and centre.
Well, CMB, we're going to take you off of this free track and put you behind the paywall for the conclusion of this conversation.
sick.
But before we do,
What you mean all that like outrageously libelous and slanderous stuff is going in the free podcast?
don't worry about it. But before we do, would you like to plug both the Here Comes the Guillotine live show and your personal exploits?
Oh my god, yeah. Come see. When does this come out? Soon?
Immediately.
Oh, great. It's already
We're
live.
It's more live, actually.
It's on Twitch.
Here comes the guillotine in Aberdeen, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. We're playing big venues, arguably too big.
That's selling it.
We've sold really well, but it's like it'll be good if you like. Just maybe check out. I don't think I will plug the live shows. Check out the podcast, and if you like Here Comes Guillotine. We do some fun video game chat. There's a Baldur's Gate 3 episode where it's just me and Frankie because Susie fucking hates Baldur's Gate 3 and all fantasy things. But if you want to know if Frankie Boyle shagged the squid in Baldur's Gate 3, check that out.
I listened to that while making my dinner the other night. I was like, yeah, this is what it's all about. Here Comes the Guillotine, my favourite podcast at the moment, mainly because you had an unbroken run of every time I was listening to it on a plane, 9/11 would come up. And I was like, this is just guaranteed. Like, I almost feel like I was shaping the universe. I was like, I want an episode with some 9/11 humor. I should go on a flight and it will just appear for me in my podcast player of choice.
I do. I enjoy it to the point that when we were on that lengthy Pokemon tactics discussion, I was like, I really wish Susie was here, just to react, just to stare at you.
Shut the fuck up.
Just to stare.
What about yourself? What about your one-man shows?
I've got 4 work in progresses at the Glasgow Comedy Festival. They are all sold out. I've got a collaboration with the Alistair Gray Archives where I'm doing a bit of stand-up in response to his life's work and practices as a artist. Check that out if that's something that interests you. If you like what I think about Pokemon TCG, but you want to hear what I think about Lanark, check that out. And then at the Fringe, I'll have a brand new hour of stand-up that this work in progress is trying to figure out the material for. That's going to be called, I don't think I've announced what it's called. It'll be called Howling at the Moon. And that'll be about me going mental last year. So, which coincidentally led to me playing way too much Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Nice.
But yeah, check that out. And peace and love, New Millennium.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, if you want more chat from CMB, you can go to patreon.com/videogameschronicle. That's patreon.com/videogameschronicle. Thank you both for joining me. I'll pretend that we're going to like walk away from each other now and not immediately continue the conversation. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
Say goodbye, Christopher.
See you later.
And we'll see you on patreon.com/videogameschronicle.